Hey there, in this video I will answer some questions I received about how I test shoot with a first-time model. I will give you some insight on my opinion on light and modeling poses and things to focus on while shooting with a female model. I met my model Claudia online 12 hours before shooting. I saw someone commenting on her Facebook picture, got in touch at 11 in the evening, and at 9 in the morning we were shooting. So these are our first model shots ever taken. And yeah, I find my models everywhere really. For a test photo shoot, I like to work with one single light with a large softbox on the right of the model and a reflector on the left side of the model. The first thing I noticed about my model is that she has this heroine chic look going on and naturally closes her eyes a bit when looking at you. So I made it my task to both make that look stand out, but also try to influence her posing into a more standard way of modeling to see if she was available for that as well. The first thing I do is take some no makeup black and white shots of my model, without giving direction, with her face straight to the camera. This helps me to see her bone structure and how she keeps her face naturally in place. After this, I asked her to open her eyes a little more and put her hair behind her ears so I could get a better look at her face. Then some basic makeup was applied that defined her features a bit more, and I took another straight picture of her with the reflector on the left closer to the face, so she would get a second sparkle in her eyes and shadows would become less visible. Before I'm gonna use normal beauty lighting more, I like to move the reflector further away from my model so more shadows will appear in her face. I take some shots of my model smiling, with her mouth open and closed, and some other shots to see how light affects my model's features. I love to compare side shots with different lighting to see if my model can both look younger than her age and older. The second pic was taken with a reflector close to the left of her face. Comparing these shots helps me to decide for what kinds of shoots my model would be available. Right before I ask my model to step out of her comfort zone and actually start posing, I take a side full body shot of her and some frontal full body shots with her hair in an updo, so I will know what kind of body type and face I'll be working with in the future. One of the things I teach my models is that being in control of your neck and shoulders is very important, because those body parts are the ladder to your face. While I love the lighting in the left picture, body-wise I prefer the right one. Here I instructed Claudia to make her neck and arms look more comfortable, which makes the pose look more casual and confident. When shooting side pictures, I often ask my models to slightly turn their upper body towards the camera or drop their shoulder more. This makes their neck look less folded and therefore more relaxed. Side shots where the neck looks too tightened often create an odd-looking or emotional picture, which is okay if you are shooting true journalistic kinds of portraits, but when you're aiming for a fashion look, it can be too distracting. During test shoots I take normal post full body shots, but what I really like to do as well is to make my model more aware of her body by asking awkward poses of her, so I can teach her how to make herself look as confident as possible, even when the poses feel odd while doing them. To give you an idea of how I look at my model when trying to improve her poses, here's an example of how my mind works. Throughout the years, I've found that I often look for triangle shapes in the body. The cleaner the triangle shapes I can find, the more pleasing I often find the pose. In these pictures, you can see at the right how changing the position of the shoulders, face and neck affects the outcome better. In this picture, the model's upper body looks really strong, which makes you focus more on the physical aspect of the model and her strength. If this pic was about a sports goal she achieved, it would do, but by dropping one shoulder and pushing it towards the camera and keeping her head up to make her neck stand out more, my model gave this pose more of a fashion feeling. But the curves in her lower body kinda create a more glamour look as well now, because instead of strength, you now focus on her sex appeal. To create a more sophisticated pose and focus more on confidence and clothing and less on physical appearance, moving the hips away from the camera works well. Even tiny or fragile poses can turn into fashion by simply changing the way of how you place yourself in front of the camera. Most people think that in fashion photography it's all about looking as thin as possible, but I really disagree. In this picture my model looks really thin, but her shoulders make her look fragile. By tightening her shoulders less and making her neck taller, she now looks more confident. Her body now looks rather slim instead of skinny. I definitely prefer this picture over the other one. So keep in mind when you select your pictures, go for confidence, not size.